What is up, you guys? So it has been a minute and I'm so sorry. I said I was gonna document my financial journey, and I did the childish thing and didn't show you guys when things were getting bad. So I'm gonna go over when things were getting bad and what that meant. Some life changes I made because things were getting bad, and just some different things that I've learned about budgeting. So first things first, life changes that I had to make over the course of just, I want to say, the past 6 months. The first is that I switched jobs. So back when I started this, I was getting a bit better at being consistent in my budget, not in my budget, in my business. And so when I was looking at my income, I was tracking everything. And because I was tracking everything, I was consistently making money in business. And I really was telling myself, oh, I'm okay, that my day job really only paid me $800 a month. I don't know anybody who can live off of $800 a month. I live with my parents. So I have cushion, but for real, what is that? And so the position that put me in was I have to be on top of making money in my business, or I'm literally just surviving above water. And so that's actually where I found myself. And a couple revelations had to happen for me to realize you're being stubborn. You need to go back to regular work. And so I did. I decided that I was just going to go back to working the traditional 35 plus hours a week and not work my part-time job. The 35 plus to 40 is close to full-time, but I was not doing that. And I was, like I said, if you're working 40 hours and you're still only making $800 and you live in a state in the Northeast or on the coast, help. Help. Anyway, because the cost of living is high. So I switched jobs. I think I posted about it. I work in retail now, and I genuinely enjoy working in retail because I love sales and I love talking to people and I love helping people solve problems. And I'm grateful for that. And so since doing that, I do want to share with you something that two of my mentors did tell me. They've been telling me for months. And it was really that starting a business, you don't have to go all in the beginning. You can be what we call a hybrid entrepreneur, meaning you are a part-time worker who is building a business at night. So you work your 9 to 5, and your 5 to 9 is when you build your business. Now, is that transition easy? Not necessarily. Is doing it easy? Not necessarily, because the transition over the past couple months has been hard. Just having the energy to do anything when I leave work, because I leave work and then I actually have to go through transit to leave, after I leave work, and everybody else, you have to drive somewhere unless you work from home. But even just having the mental energy to engage and talk to people, it's a lot, but it's worth it. And it makes me grateful, and have just a higher respect for the people who do that. And also a higher respect for the people who decide to go all in and just boom, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. So much respect for people who either or both are hard. Just choose your hard. And it has also made me realize that these past 6 months made me realize just how true it is when I talk to people about money and finances, that having a side hustle is not an option. I remember watching a video and someone was having a side hustle used to be something that only unique people did. I want some little side money to go do X, Y, and Z, to do this, to do that. It's no, everybody needs one. And yes, everybody does need a side hustle. I have a different reason about why I say that outside of just the financial aspect. I believe everyone is called to be a creator of some kind. And because whatever you create is valuable for the rest of the world. You don't have to monetize it and scale it and become a millionaire, but you can monetize it to fill in gaps in your finances, in your financial portfolio, if you so desire. But everyone is capable of being a creator and monetizing whatever they create if they so choose. And unfortunately, in the society, in the economy that we have right now, it's a necessity. It's not really optional. But more about that another time. So, yeah. that was the first thing. That was the first and the second thing was just decide to switch jobs. Chose something that I actually enjoy, which is talking to people and helping them solve problems, i.e. sales, and gained a new respect for just having a job, people who decide to build a business part-time, and people who decide to go all in, because both are hard. And the next thing is really just I adopted a new budgeting strategy. So before I go into, I'm doing the zero-based budget. Before I go into that, I just want to say, flipping your money blueprint is not as simple as I thought it would be. I always watch people's videos and I just think like, oh, they just figured it out. Like and they got it. And it's like, no, they tried a bunch of stuff with their money and they realized it didn't work. Like, oh, this doesn't work for me. My brain doesn't do this. I don't like this. And sometimes they fall off and they just get back up. And this is still early in the journey for me, but I'm trying the zero-based budget. I tried to do the whole like, let me pay myself first. Let me do this. Let me envelopes, absolutely not. Like, I don't even like carrying cash. Not gonna lie to you, I don't like doing that. But for some reason, you guys, I have been like this since I was like 18. I don't know what my problem is. I love to open bank accounts. Maybe I just like, I know I'm gonna be a very wealthy individual. Maybe, I don't know. But I like to have multiple bank accounts. And I like to have my money spread out across multiple bank accounts. That's just, like, that has always made sense to me. Keeping your money in one bank has always sounded foolish to me. It never made sense. And it wasn't, and then I learned that like banks give you incentives to open accounts with them. And I was like, oh yeah, let's do that. But now I'm learning to make, like, that's how my brain works. In the process of sitting with so many people going over their budgets, I've learned that like certain things just make sense to certain people. Your brain is just wired a certain way. So it's either I help you rewire it, or like, which is what I'm doing both for myself, is either I help you rewire it to your advantage, or no, either I help you rewire it towards what's going to work, or I help you use the way it's wired to your advantage. I'm doing a hybrid of both. And so like I said, having multiple bank accounts makes sense to me. I had come to a season where I had all these bank accounts, but I wasn't really using them. I was keeping all my money in the same place, which really wasn't helpful for me to actually budget and save. So the lesson I've been learning over the past couple months is like, hey, this is useful, but use it wisely. So I started practicing a zero-based budget, and I'm very excited for this next pay period to do it again, and to actually start adding in payouts for my business into this whole flow. And so when I say a zero-based budget, I started looking at my lifestyle, and then I chose how I was going to use the bank accounts. Before, what I would do is I would look at my bank accounts and be like, let me put some here, let me put some here, let me put some here, let me put some here. And there was no rhyme or reason. And then I was like, well, I know I spend money on fast food, so let me do it this way. I know I spend money on this, so let me put it this way. And then it was just like, slow down, Selena. How do we really make all of these things work with the way that your life is actually being lived? And anything you don't like, you tweak it from there. So I addressed some things that are, have to be done in my life. One, I have to, sometimes I have to take Uber. Now, what I've tried to do before is put the money for my Ubers, on my Apple Wallet. And that kind of worked, but not really, because subscriptions came out of that. So that kind of failed. And then one day I was like, hey, I can upload money into my Uber wallet. Why don't I just budget myself for how much I want to spend on Uber in between pay periods? And so what that did is that is in the process, that is gradually training my brain to be more aware. I'm like, I have $75 to spend on Uber for the next 2 weeks. And outside of that, I have a bus pass. I don't want to go over my 75, y'all. I really don't. If I have to, I'll be disappointed. But I don't want to. And so that's helping me budget on not being careless with my time and being mindful of like leaving places on time. So leaving places on time and planning my life accordingly so that I don't have to use that, because I do have a way of getting somewhere and not having to come out of pocket. I have a bus card. Like, I've already paid for both of them. And so the money for Uber is already allocated, and my transport is covered for the month. Cool. That's one. Second is laundry. I live in an apartment complex. Absolutely hate the way they do laundry. Like, I just hate it. Because they keep going up on the cost of laundry, and our machines suck. If you know, like, whatever. It's a part of apartment living. Unless you have in unit washer and dryer, blessings to you. I do not. So, they started like upcharging us for not using their app, and I was like, what kind of nonsense is this? And so I got the blasted app, and I was like, oh my god. But then I was like, hey, this could be a good thing. How is this a good thing? I can now budget how much I have for laundry. Y'all, I cannot tell you how many times before I switched jobs, I would like go like weeks at a time not washing clothes because I paid for everything, and then I didn't leave money to do my laundry. So now I was like, okay, thankfully I have enough clothes to like go like two weeks without washing my clothes. And that's like super embarrassing, but I'm telling you, like, I'd be like, well, do I have enough clothes to make it another week until the next paycheck? Yep. Okay. Well, I'll do laundry when I get paid next week. But then I would end up spending like $40, $35 to do my laundry because it was so many loads of laundry that had just like gone by. And then if like random things came up and I had to wash like extra clothes, or I went on a trip somewhere, like whatever, because now I packed clothes and went to multiple places at like in one day, it just, yeah, it would build up, and then it would cost me more. And so now I'm like, they're making me use this app and upload money into the app. Why don't I use this to budget out and have money already pre-set aside for my laundry? That sounds like a good idea. So the money, my laundry is already paid for. Cool. Next thing I did, because I work in retail, and most retail workers, to the best of my knowledge, are not offered a 401k plan or a retirement plan. And they're also they're just not offered benefits. Like, if you don't work full time, chances are your retail job is not giving you benefits. They're not giving you health insurance, they're not giving you dental, they're not giving you vision, and they're not giving you retirement. So what do I have to go set up for myself? All of those things cost money. Retirement, it doesn't cost money. It's putting away money. It's more saving, but it's money that's leaving my check. So I preset all of those. I reached out and I set up my health insurance, vision, dental, accidental. I already pay. I sell life insurance, y'all. Like, I have life insurance. And so I have a general account where all of those things will come out at once. All of those things. My investments, which is my retirement, I have a totally separate account that I fund, and my investments, my brokerage accounts, and crypto, anything I want to do with investing, I just have it like drafting out of every week, just draft a specific amount out. I think it's like $15, and then I'll just like transfer an additional $50 into that investment account. And then some of them auto draft. And then if I like read something and I'm like, I'll buy that, like I just bought Bitcoin, there's already money set aside for me to do that. And so I'm not like, which is exactly what I used to do before. I would like talk to people about money and they'd be like, you should buy this. A friend of mine was like, you should buy Ethereum. And I'm like, I don't have any money. Like, he told me to do that like a year ago. I don't have any money. He told me to do that like 2 weeks ago again. And I was like, okay, done. Because I had the money already set aside in an account that I had titled investing. And it's just a regular savings account that I just put money into for when I decide I want to invest in something, or when the opportunity presents itself. But in my brain now, it's like, that's not touchable. Like, I can't use that. That's investing money. That's not mine. And so there's that. And then I looked at all my bills for the month, and I figured out how much all my bills are. And I finally understand something that my clients used to tell me. They were like, one paycheck covers all my bills, the other paycheck is play money. And I'd be like, interesting, because I didn't know what that felt like. And then when I totaled up all my bills for the month, and I was like, oh, that's what they mean. Okay, that makes sense. All my bills pretty much are covered in one paycheck. And actually, potentially less. Quite possibly less. And so I was like, okay, so let me set it up so that they all get paid. And a part of what's included is, of course, my savings. So I allocate anywhere from $50 to $100 into my savings. In my head, that's a bill. It has to get paid. I have to put away towards my savings. Phone bill, business expenses every month. I have fees I have to pay. And when I say fees, I'm like, there are subscriptions I have to like DocuSign so that I can send documents to clients. Like, those things already allocated. I set up a business bank account where anything that's a business related expense, I had to buy new licenses. Like, my license in Virginia recently expired. I had to purchase a new license to do business in Virginia, and I do business in Virginia. I had to buy a new license. It's not coming out of my personal account. I don't want it to show up on my personal account. I want it to show up on my business account as a business expense. So when I file my taxes, it's coming out of there, right? I'm taking a trip to a convention. All those expenses preferably are coming out of my business account. As I say this, I just realized I made a mistake and did not do that. But that being said, oh wait, yes I did. I fixed it, never mind. That being said, like, doing my budgeting this way, I started to, and the last thing was groceries. Buying food is like the most expensive thing that I do, because I would buy bad food, I would buy cheap food, but it would add up really quickly. And then it was killing my energy, which would also lead me to wake up late. It was just a terrible domino effect. So I sat there and I said, okay, what would it take for me to not have to buy outside food? I have to go grocery shopping. Great. How much am I willing to spend on groceries? And I took another debit card, totally separate account, and I transferred over $150 to that account. And I was like, okay, that's all I should need for groceries. And so when it all came down to it, I had no money left. I was like, oh, I have no money left. But when I tell you, I felt so good, because I was like, I'm not missing anything. Like, I have no money left. But everything that I need to pay for is paid for. And so I was like, wow, I understand why people do this method. Because if everything's paid for, now everything is only up. It's looking at, okay, what do I have coming in next? Because everything that's coming in next is going to help me grow. And that is the mental shift I'm super, super excited for. Is how do I use whatever's coming in next to help me grow? Grow as internally, grow financially, or serve someone else. Because that's one of my goals, is like to be able to serve other people and help other people. My church, we give to different causes. We give to children. It's about to be back to school. Teachers have massive expenses when it comes to like decorating their classroom. Kids are short on school supplies. How can I give? Because now I'm not in a position where my bills aren't paid. I'm sorry, I'm not comfortable giving. My bills are paid. Why wouldn't I give to you? Why wouldn't I help you? Like, and not only that, I'm in a business that has uncapped earning potential. I can still always make more money outside of my job. And so with this whole like budgeting thing, y'all, I'm like super, super excited. Even though I'm not, like I said, I have no money. That's how it felt when I was done. I was like, I have no money. What is this? It still felt good. It felt really good, because now something I listened to a lot of like business people and wealthy individuals talk about money. And one thing they've always said is, I'm gonna say always, I've heard a lot of people say this. They said poor people think money is just to pay bills. Middle class people think money is to pay for credit cards so that they can pay for things that they don't need to impress people who don't care about them. Wealthy people think money is supposed to go and work for you so you can make more money to go buy things that you actually want. Like, money is about converting things into assets. And so I like the second two. Well, not even the second two. I've been in the place where like none of my bills are paid. I don't like it. I don't like it. But I don't want to live a life where all I'm doing is paying bills. All the money I have is just to pay bills. I don't want to live like that, y'all. I don't know about you, but I don't want to live like that. And in the vision of what I have with helping people with finances, I don't want to teach anybody to live like that either. Or I believe that there is a season of life where you will feel dirt broke while you put yourself back together financially. And I have so much more peace about going through that season of life now than I ever did before. I feel like I was always avoiding this season. Like, I don't want to feel broke. I don't want to look broke, but I am broke. Like, I don't have the money to do things like, and I was always so hyper aware that it was just because of the choices I was making financially. It was nothing else. I mean, yes, of course, I wasn't making enough money, but it was mostly like the choices I was making were bad. So yeah, it was nothing else. It was the choices I was making. The place I was choosing to work, the way I was choosing to spend my money, and the choices I was making in business, which brings me to my next point. Running a business is so much so about consistency. It is so much about consistency, especially in the stages before you start scaling. And if you never decide to scale, that is totally fine. But just know that like systems are non-negotiable. Scaled or unscaled systems are non-negotiable, because that is what's going to allow you to be consistent despite seasons of life, that the income becomes steady. Maybe it's not going to skyrocket. Maybe it's not going to, replace your job. But regardless of what you do, having a system allows you to create consistent income. Because if you're a creator, I personally believe everyone has been gifted with the ability to be a creator of something. And so therefore everyone has the capacity to harness and produce an asset that will increase their income, which is necessary in the current economy. You got to create a system to match whatever that asset is, whatever that gift and that creative ability or that asset is, so that it is a regular income producing asset. Whether you scale or not, I think that that's necessary. And that's what I wasn't doing. And that's what really woke me up to the reality, like, I have to do something different. And the one thing that I wasn't willing to do that was different at the time was just go back to work. Because that is that in the early stages is a part of the system. I had been like watching YouTube videos, talking to my friends who are also considered mentors, and they were mentors first, and then they became friends. And it was just like, yeah, like this is a part of the system. A friend of mine was like, your job is your first business partner. They're your first investor. And yeah, and so being consistent in business is a key part of being able to sustain additional income, and to grow your savings, and to expand your budget. So something I've learned in this process, I would argue with my friend about it, and he said, like, first you need to increase your income, go back to work. And I'm like, no, I need to get better at saving. You don't have nothing to save, sis. I mean, you have very little, very, very little. But if you want more to save, you got to go increase your income. Now, you can do that with your business, but how long do you want to wait there? You can go back to work and increase your income that way. And then you can increase your skill set, increase your value, and then increase your income in business. It's more gradual, but it's less demoralizing. And I say that mentally, like just the process of not having money. There's a great book. I believe it's called The Richest Man in Babylon. I say I believe because I'm like, am I mixing it up with The Alchemist? But The Richest Man in Babylon, The Richest Man in Babylon, and I believe in Think and Grow Rich, it talks about having savings allows you to stand taller. Like mentally stand taller, because you know that you're disciplining yourself in an area most people lack control, and that's their finances. So that's when I say demoralizing, that's what I mean. The next thing is, having multiple streams with no discipline still results in feeling broke. Like, you'll still feel like you have no money because you have a way to make money, but you don't have the discipline to execute on a regular basis how to actually get it. And so multiple streams but no flow. What is that? Like, what is that? That's what was happening to me in business. I wasn't consistent. I had no discipline. And so at some point it was like, am I really even in business? Like, what am I doing? And so, yeah, that has led to all these different shifts. And so now, like I said, did the zero-based budget. Super excited for that. Also rebuilding my credit. That is a video for another day, because we'll see how that goes. I don't quite know what I'm doing. I'm gonna ask a friend of mine. He has been studying credit for like 2 or 3 years. I'm gonna ask him for some advice, and I will get back to you on that. And so before I wrap up, some achievements in this process. My investment accounts. So they're not like super big. Do not get me wrong. But I'm very, very excited because first of all, they exist. They exist. I do have accounts where I am actively saving money and I have purchased stocks and they are growing or fluctuating in the marketplace. That makes me happy. I do own crypto, and so I have 2 brokerage accounts and I have crypto. And then outside of that, and they are regularly funded. All of those things bring me joy. I feel like a responsible adult. I'm taking my retirement into my own hands. I am not going to let the fact that I do not work a traditional corporate job and am not provided a 401k be an excuse to not prepare for retirement. Oh, actually, I think they did provide me with a 401k, and I think it's coming out of my check. I just have no idea how much it is. But I don't even know. I don't even think they're contributing. So I'm not too pressed about it. Like, I'm just not. I don't think they're contributing, so that's why I'm not too pressed about it. But yeah, I'm very proud to just have that discipline of constantly contributing to it every single pay period. And when I start adding income in through my business, I already have it allocated. I use Novo. If you are an entrepreneur, I would recommend using Novo so far. I don't have any complaints about it. One thing I really like about it is you can go in and tell it, like, it automatically, you can tell it or adjust how it's going to allocate your funds. And then every purchase you make, you can, how do I say, like, identify where it like line item it as to where it should come out of. So like, say your account has $10,000 in it, right? But the 10,000 has a breakout of saying this amount is going towards taxes, this amount is just profit to the business, this amount is going towards owner's compensation, this amount is going towards let's say operating expenses or marketing. Like, it takes every deposit and breaks it out into those different categories. So then when you do make expenses, you can take the expense and then categorize where it goes. So it's showing you the balance, even though it's just one singular bank account. So it's line iteming all your expenses and your income for you in advance. I like it. So yes, that was a digression. But yes, achievements, I have my investment accounts. And as I build my business, I will use my business to invest in those accounts too. I've built, like, I've hit my first mini savings goal, which is just saving $300. In the past, when I've saved money, for some reason, I always plateau at 300. And I almost did. I literally almost did. And right now I'm at like a crossroads of like a bunch of random expenses are coming up and I can plateau at 300 again. Cause here's what happens. I'll save and I'll get to 300. I'll be like, cool. And then something will come up and suddenly I'm back at 0. And I've talked to so many people about their finances. They literally, their number may be different, but they have the same experience. I'm learning that that's just a part of the game. And it's a test to your discipline. To me, it's just a test of discipline. Like, okay, something came up. Is that more important than keeping the discipline? No, it's not. So I'm super excited to cross over into my next goal. My next goal is to save $1,000, whether that's through business or that's through just like working. And the thing is working in insurance, it kind of doesn't take a lot to make $1,000, so that I can trick myself and say like that's small, but I know how I want to build my financial house. And I don't want to use the money I make in business like it's all just play money. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying if that's how you use your money, like that's unwise. If you're not seriously trying to build a business to scale, then it's just a side hustle. Like, it is play money. You should still put some to the side, because all side hustles come with expenses. Unless it's just head knowledge, they'll probably come with expenses. So you want to have money set aside that is like going to anticipate those. But like $1,000 can be made, but $1,000 doesn't go to me as the owner of the business, if that makes sense. So that is still my next goal. And then the other goal after that is also just pay off all my credit cards. And so I'm super excited with how, if you see me looking down, it's because I took notes because I wanted to be more structured when I made this video. I'm super excited about this next side of money and finances for me, because I think I said it the first time. I teach people, I sit with people and I talk to them about money and finances, and I realized, y'all, I have no moral integrity with doing this. I had no moral integrity because I could tell people what they were doing wrong in their finances, but I was like, it's easier said than done. Doing it yourself is a challenge because you're rewiring the way that your brain experiences and interacts with money. What I learned about myself was that whenever I had money, I felt like, oh, it just needs to go. Like, it needs to get out of my hands. Like, it's not safe if it stays with me. And that's not true, because I know what I want to do with money. I know that I want to invest in people. Here's the thing. I need more money for the amount of investments in people that I want to make. I know that I want to impact the world. I want to impact my community. I know that in some regard, I do want to upgrade my lifestyle. I don't particularly want like a large home. I just want a private home. A private home. I want my home to be quiet and simple. That's something that I've never really had. So, and maybe this is for another video, just understanding that like how not having, when you become accustomed to not having, your dreams get so much smaller. And just working a job and then now pursuing business while working a job is reminding me so much of why I wanted to get into finances as an industry, why I was willing and interested in business as just a space, because I know that not understanding money can shrink and crush your dreams, and it can shift and manipulate what you believe is possible. And so I look at my own dreams and I look at my own standard of what is normal, and how it was the longer I stayed in a place where I wasn't making enough money, the more I kept saying I can just do without. And the thing is like, there are some people that's not a problem for them because their dreams are still big. So going without doesn't mean, in their mind, does not mean that they will never have it. For me, it was doing that. It was like, oh, I'll never have it. It's okay. It's okay. And it's like, no, it's not. It's not. I don't have to have everything in the world. There's a great quote. It's in a podcast I listen to. And she says, you can have anything, but you can't have everything. And just the simple belief of I can have anything is powerful. And it makes you move different. And it challenges the decisions you make. I can have anything. A quote I want to live by is something that came to me one day, was abundance is not, it's not an excuse to be wasteful, which is what I used to think when people would say like, I want this. I'm like, it's kind of wasteful. Abundance is not the excuse to be wasteful, but it's the opportunity to be selective. I have enough, so I have options. And that's what I want. I want that for me, and I want that for the people that I serve, and I want that for the people who I live in community with. So, with that being said, I am super excited about this next step in my financial journey. Stay tuned. I will be posting more about it, and I will also be posting more stuff just on this channel in general. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for being a real one, and I will have another update for you probably, unless something significant happens, probably like mid to late August, around my finances. But thank you guys so much for watching. Leave me some feedback. Have you ever tried a zero-based budget? What are your thoughts about like having access to anything, being selective, giving? Share your feedback. Yeah. Peace out, y'all.